All right, YouTube, since there's nobody alive today who survived a global economic meltdown and how to use the silver during that time, everybody's opinion is valid. Well, here's mine. All right, YouTube. So, based on the comments I get on my channel, I put together five what I believe are misconceptions about stacking silver in the apocalypse. Now, let me first say that I plan to use my silver to stave off future inflation, kind of supplement my retirement income. Now, I'm not a doomsday prepper, but I do feel like I have sufficiently provisioned my family in case we have to survive some type of system disruption for some time. And I am absolutely sure that I am more than capable of defending my home and my family if that need should arise. Now, is the apocalypse possible? Is a shift type situation, is that possible? Well, absolutely. I believe that is more than possible. I believe it's absolutely going to happen. I'm just betting that it won't happen in my lifetime. Now, I may be wrong about that, but my motivation for stacking silver is to supplement my future retirement. Okay, so having said that, let's get right into this. And these are five what I believe are the main misconceptions about stacking silver and the apocalypse. And since there's nobody alive today who has survived a global apocalypse, I believe all opinions are valid. So if you got an opinion, feel free to leave it, and I will let it stay. Be respectful if you can. If you can't, just leave the comment anyway. I'll just let it stand. As long as it's not personal or disrespectful, it can stay, because I know this is one of those hot button issues. And there's a lot of people out there have some strong opinions about stacking silver and the apocalypse. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so misconception number one. No one is going to give up precious resources for hunks of metal. Now, there's a whole lot of truth in that, but let's dissect that real quick. So, not really a misconception. It does need some clarification, I believe. People will be hoarding food, water, and other basic needs fall in disaster where such things are in very short supply. Things like silver, gold, and other precious metals will not have much value to people in need of survival. People will not be interested in barter, not at this time. It's all going to be about hoarding, no barter. Nobody's going to be willing to share what they have, because nobody knows how long this, they don't know how long they're going to have to survive on what they have at hand. All right? What you have for you and your family will have to be for just that. And since nobody knows how long this is going to last, they can't spare anything. But we're not talking about the immediate aftermath. We're not talking about right after or during the apocalypse or during the emergency type situation. When preppers talk about using their silver and other precious metals, they mean months or even years later. When it's only people who have prepared and therefore survived that are left. Sad to say, not all of us are going to make it. When most of the chaos has subsided, people start to need things beyond the basics, like milk and fresh produce, candle wax and iron. Some sort of trade will have to be established, since no one who survives can produce everything that they need themselves. I'm not a metal forger. I can't forge tools out of metal, but the guy down the street may be able to. And since we've both survived and now we're thriving, I have chickens and goats and produce and various types of things, and so does he. So we have to have something that I have that he needs, that he doesn't have. And that's when precious metals will come into play. All right, the next misconception is since you can't eat silver, silver stackers are going to starve. Um, that was really kind of laughable, but let's get into it. All right. See, I wasn't even going to address this one, but it made the list because it outnumbers so many comments on this subject that I thought were a little more relevant. It really is hard for me to understand why some people would believe this. I mean, if a stacker is putting silver or any other precious metal away in case things go bad in the future, I mean, do you really think they would overlook the possibility they might need to have something to drink or perhaps a meal or two if there's no grocery stores or golden corrals? I mean, I wager that stackers are going to be among the most prepared of the preppers because they have thought beyond just their survival. And that's really kind of all I want to say about that. I mean, the notion that people who stack silver only stack silver, not weapons, not food, not things that they possibly gonna need in case society breaks down, is a little bit naive, I believe. Now, are there some stackers out there who are probably not prepared for emergencies? I'm sure there are, but I would wager that really a person who is thoughtful enough to be putting away his finances in case something happens in the future is going to be thinking about more than just that. And that's really kind of all I want to say about that. So let's move on. All right, so misconception number 3. No one will trust that your bullion is real since it can't be tested. Let's talk about that. All right, so this misconception has been around for a long time, and it's been used by, I like to say, that it's been used by silver haters. And there are plenty of silver haters out there. All you have to do is just read some of the comments. It's based on this notion that somehow silver and gold will be counterfeited in a shift type future and therefore can't be trusted. However, if you consider that silver and gold and other precious metals have been used in currency for thousands of years and made into money for hundreds of years, I think you'll conclude that this fear is irrational. I mean, many people have access to some sophisticated printing and metal working equipment. And though we do see some counterfeiting, I mean, it's out there, it's pretty rare. I mean, I've been stacking silver for a long time, and I think I bought some pandas from China way back when I first started, and they were counterfeited. But that's still pretty rare. That's the only time I've ever gotten anything that wasn't real, and I didn't know any better at the time. I mean, it's this accepted value that we put on things that gives it worth, and not so much the content of it. I mean, think about a dollar. The dollar bill is basically worthless. I mean, it's made out of some cloth and some paper, but we give it value because of what we place on it, what we believe it's worth, and that's what gives it worth. That's the benefit of it. I mean, constitutional or 90% silver coins are recognized and accepted worldwide. I mean, it's a ready-made currency. I mean, and think about that. It's already a currency. It's already been used as currency. It's already been accepted as currency. So it's already ready-made currency. So silver stackers plan to, and silver preppers and preppers plan to use constitutional silver in that way. I mean, we're already wired. Our brains are already wired to accept that type of coinage as currency. So this idea that, it will be worthless because nobody will trust it is just not valid. The people who survive to the point to where you start using silver and other precious metals as barter will know the value of precious metals. The people who have survived that far or survived that long are the people who have already prepped and prepared and know the value of those currencies. And silver is not that hard to distinguish from other metals. Anyway, I guess that's really all I want to say about that. I just think that whole notion of not being able to authenticate precious metals will make it worthless in a shift type situation is just not based on any kind of fact. All right, so misconception number 4, and probably my favorite one. You guys are gonna love this. Silver stackers are just piling up silver for me to come along and take it. that's a good one. Let's talk about it. All right, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this misconception here, because it is a misconception if somebody believes that it's going to be an easy thing to just take somebody's what amounts to be their life savings. I believe they're a little naive to think that that's going to be an easy thing to do. And I won't spend a lot of time on this because the people who leave comments like this, that's what they want. They want you to spend a little time thinking about it. But I don't need to tell you that if a person leaves a comment like this, they won't wait around for a shift type scenario to be a threat. I mean, these threats exist. I'll just leave it like this. Whatever security you have in place, that security will travel right on with you into whatever emergency type situation that you have. Your precious metals are that precious, and they are going to be what amounts to your life savings in a shift type situation. So, I have firearms, as I'm sure many of you have firearms. I'm not a real big, fan of firearms. I mean, I have them because I believe the need is there. And that's kind of all I want to say about that, because I want to keep this video kind of semi-serious and kind of light. So I've gotten this comment often enough to include it on this list. And that's really all I want to say about that is, whatever security you have in place, whatever means or methods you have come up with to defend what is yours, I would say that's going to carry right into whatever emergency situation that you find yourself in. And for people who believe that that's going to be an easy thing to take somebody's life savings, I would say, you might want to rethink that. Anyway, let's move on. All right, last misconception I believe is it's never going to be an apocalypse. You're wasting your time and your money. All right, so there's a few things to unpack in this misconception. First of all, I mean, we don't want there to be apocalypse. There's never apocalypse or never a shift type situation or never some global meltdown. That would be fantastic. I mean, that's not something I'm longing for. And the whole idea or the whole notion that I'm wasting my time and my money because there's not going to be an apocalypse by stacking silver is just kind of a foreign concept to me, because I would stack silver even if there was no reason to stack silver. I mean, I like it so much. I get so much enjoyment, so much fulfillment, so much reward out of stacking silver that I just love doing it. And the fact that maybe it can be used in case of some global disaster even enhances my like of the material even more. I mean, to think that I'm already prepared financially for that type of situation, should it arise, is just, icing on the cake. Like I said in the beginning, I mean, I expect to use my silver in my retirement, but I absolutely understand how it would be used in a shift type situation. So anyway, I wanted to keep this video kind of light, kind of like because it's all hypothetical. I mean, like I said, nobody alive today has survived a global apocalypse. So really, it's anybody's guess how things are going to go. I mean, we know the basics. We know there are not going to be a lot of things that we are used to. But the whole thing is to be prepared. Just don't think that that's just because it hasn't happened that it won't. I mean, just look at the way the world is today, and you'll see. I mean, I believe we're right on the edge of something. Now, is it a global meltdown? I don't believe so, but there's definitely some changes coming, and and you just have to be smart and just prepare for those. And stacking precious metals, to me, is a great way to prepare for the aftermath of society's reshift or breakdown. Anyway, I guess that's all I want to say about that. Hopefully I cleared some things up. Hopefully I didn't muddy the waters anymore, but leave me a comment. If you got a question, I'll try to answer it the best I can or point you in the right direction. But anyway, let's just have fun, keep stacking our silver, keep this silver train moving. If you like what you see, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more like this, go ahead and subscribe. I may be doing more stuff like this in the future, and let's just keep stacking. Peace.